Photographers literally only want one thing, and it's f***ing disgusting. New gear. Constantly we're on the lookout in the market for new releases in cameras, or even dream about receiving new lenses and making sweet love to it. Yep, disgusting. So I convinced myself to buy this new Sony 24-70mm f2.8 G Master Mark II, and I'm going to tell you the reason why. And it's not because I'm a G Master whore. Let's start with the boring stuff first. So this lens is hella expensive. It comes in at around $2,300 US, but at the time that I inquired about it in the Sony store, they had a promotion, and I also had some vouchers with me, which those two things cut down the price to almost half. So if you don't have the budget of $2,000 for a lens, consider other cheaper alternatives out there. There's other options in the market. So I personally like how the G Master lenses bodies are made to be more efficient for the photographer. So for example, they have this autofocus to manual focus toggle switch, which makes changing the settings more instantaneous compared if I had to browse through the camera's menu system to change it. So of all the switches within this body, this is the one that I'll use the most. And the lens also comes in with the aperture ring so that you can change your camera's aperture directly on the lens. And the zoom ring also has a smoothness and tightness switch, which I personally like it tight. And this lens also comes in with two additional customizable buttons. So overall, this lens provides more options for the photographer, potentially making their workflow more efficient. Now that we have the boring stuff out of the way, let's look into the more interesting reasons why I got this lens. With the increasing demands of trying to grow this YouTube channel, I try to bring as much gear as possible with me so that I have different lens selections for different compositions and perspectives. And that would mean that this backpack that I carry around with me is getting heavier and heavier. Now this lens comes in at 695 grams. Definitely not the lightest lens in the market, but for its class, the standard zoom is going to be the lightest out there. So just having a feel of this right now, it's very natural on the hands, making taking photos very easy, and as Captain America says,
I can do this all day.
Yeah, I know.
So the next point, and I'm quite surprised it's not the most important consideration I made, and it's about the image quality. Now I won't talk too much about this point because it's a G Master lens. It's already expected to be top of the class, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the creators out there are also focusing more about this, but I've had this lens for about a month and the results are just mind-blowing. I mean, just have to say it, edge-to-edge sharpness. And here are some outings and sample photos that I've captured with this lens. I particularly admired the results from the waterfall hike. The first set of photos, I didn't do much planning and just wanted to photograph some city views around Hong Kong. I was really impressed by how sharp the details were within the frame. Afterwards, I went on a nature trail with some friends to find some waterfalls, and I really liked the compositions from this trip, and they were further enhanced by the amazing image quality of this lens, from the color tones, details of the cracks in landscapes, and the streaks of water. I have nothing but praises for these results. The last set was from a sunrise hike where I captured some good colorful light along with the layers of landscapes in the background. So at f2.8 you can expect this lens to have some smooth bokeh, although it's not enough to be called bokeh-licious, especially at the wider ends. But at the narrower ends, I think it's quite usable for some portraits. So an interesting comparison would be to test this lens against a prime lens, maybe like the 50mm f1.2, maybe for another video. So in my photography experience, I've had a number of times when I wanted a focal range in between my wide-angle 16-35 and my telephoto 100-400mm lens. And for the longest time, I was considering to buy the Sony 24-105mm lens or this standard zoom at 24-70. And the reason why I got the standard zoom is that it stops down to f2.8, which is considerably faster than the other choice, which only stops down to f4. And I do a lot of like low-light photography, like astrophotography or night street photography. So getting a faster, wider aperture lens will definitely suit my needs more. So a tip for you when you're considering to buy new gear is to think about whether this upgrade is going to complement the current gear that you already have. Everyone wants to buy new gear. Everyone wants to get the latest things in the market out there. But do you really need it? What's the likelihood of you getting buyer's remorse? Or once you buy it, how long are you going to use it for? Are you going to use it that often? Are you going to be using it for many, many years from now on? So you need to distinguish whether that type of gear is something that you want versus is it something you need in your photography right now. At this price point, this Sony G Master lens is going to be the best of the best in the market out there, but it's still something that I won't recommend to everyone, especially if you're just a beginner or if you've been at it for a while and want to upgrade your gear but still want to use it for your generic daily or travel use. There are some cheaper alternatives out there like the Sigma 24-70 art lens or the Tamron 28-75mm lens. Both great lenses. I haven't used them myself, but the internet says so, so it must be true. So you really need to list out the current features that you'll need in your photography, and if you have the budget to do so, then by all means upgrade your gear. But I hope you found my considerations and thought process in upgrading to this G Master lens quite helpful in your own decision making. So that's it for today. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching.